So before we start this, I should just say, I saw this Pete earlier, but we found on Amazon, Horse, Fox and Kid on the Prime Instant.
Yeah.
And I read the reviews of it, and obviously the DVDs, and it wasn't just us that had, or Pete that had the getting the wrong DVD.
Yeah. Apparently it is a consistent problem.
Wow.
Maybe not even a consistent, it just seems to be they just fucked up on the DVDs.
Yeah, which makes complete sense considering Pete's was printed and stuff with the correct labelling, just the wrong data on the disc.
So the streaming video on Amazon Instant Prime is the same on the DVD?
Actually, I haven't checked that.
But I felt very vindicated from the discovery. Very vindicated.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 4th and 5th episode of the KungFu Cast.
Yeah.
Really?
Because it's Pete's fault we missed last week.
It is. I was dicking around in Dorset.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to fucking go to Dorset of all places?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm Loza, that was Pete, and then the weirdo in the corner is Ollie.
No, my name's Chow Yun Fat.
Oh shit. We're in the presence of a
mediocre
mediocre kung fu star.
I've come back as a Chinese zombie.
Chow Yun Fat though is not a kung fu star.
Well, I beg to differ.
His first kung fu role was Crouching Tiger, Pete.
Yeah, but he was also in Bulletproof Monk, which is on the top 100 list of kung fu movies of all time.
Okay, but he didn't tread his ground in kung fu.
This is true.
Anyway, so we just watched 60 Second Assassin.
And it was
and let me tell you, after 60 seconds I needed an assassin.
Yeah. Less than that even. It was pretty much garbage from the moment we started watching.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sort of, on a technical level it was trash. It's not that often that you immediately start something and the audio quality and the visuals are so awful.
It said it was 240p.
Yeah.
We were watching it in maybe 144.
Yeah.
It looked like a extremely worn out videotape.
Yeah.
Going through a DVD recorder and then compressed to the utmost dire result.
Yeah.
Everyone's face looked like a square, essentially.
Yeah, it was shocking. And you can forgive that sort of thing in a movie that's good. I know I've got a couple of old VHSs of stuff I love as a kid that I dip into every once in a while on the old VHS player, but the quality's pretty shit, but the subject matter is good enough that I keep watching it.
Well, I mean, A Hero's Tear, the compression on that was awful, but I enjoyed that.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah.
This was just not a good movie.
Yeah, fighting was a bit meh overall.
I'd say there was only 2 really good fights in it.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
The story was worn out and completely predictable.
Yep.
Like, you knew basically the plot points once the plot point set out was introduced, it was always going to be the obvious plot point.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go through. So it opened up with a fight scene of 60 seconds killing this guy.
Not a bad opening, I have to say, in terms of content.
But then it had this weird, we don't know if the encoding of the video just fucks up there and it just froze for a second or two.
No, I think that was a poor stylistic choice.
Stylistic.
Yeah.
In air quotes, which no you can see.
The thing is, bits like that tend to work in other movies, like how they worked on our last episode, where it's a stylistic choice to show when somebody is killed that you should show a blood spatter or a quick freeze frame. But they didn't really do much with that in this movie. People died all the time, but they only saved the freeze frames for maybe 2 or 3 moments.
Yeah.
So it wasn't enough of a thing to be like.
Yeah, I think the freeze frame held on just that little bit too long.
Oh yeah.
It definitely felt like it left you hanging. It wasn't like freeze, then he died. It was freeze, keep holding,
Then he
keep holding,
died.
then he died.
See, I've got a
So-
theory. You know how when we were talking about Heroes Tears, how we talked about how there were multiple editors, clearly.
Yes.
I think the first fight of this movie is okay, and it's actually edited okay because it's sort of
Definitely for an
It's-
opening to the film, it definitely worked.
it's sandwiched between him looking at the pocket watch, which immediately sets up the fact that he's killed people in 60 seconds, which he's already figured
Yeah.
from the title. But you know who he is immediately.
Yeah.
When he kills the guy, he looks at the pocket watch again. It's not edited in that badly.
No.
But I think after that they fired him because they hated it and then just replaced it with garbage.
Also,
Yeah.
this was completely without sound effects, this opening scene.
Yeah.
It was just set entirely to music, and then the rest of the film more or less just had sound effects all the time.
It was just taken from a bowling alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the music was very poorly. I don't know if it was just poorly mastered or recording, but a lot of it just sounded like.
Yeah.
Like you were at
Pretty
a
much.
like you were at a music festival, and the
Listening to a didgeridoo.
someone just the bass is up way too high. It just drowns out the nuance in any of the songs.
The bass was peaking, which
Yeah.
is something you never happen. Anyway, so we had this good opening, and then immediately it's like the second scene is this guy who's just really angry because he's like waiting around for this person,
Yeah.
and he smashes his tea. Then 60 seconds arrives, and they have a long distance thumb of war game.
They did. Which I'm sure was some sort of signal, but it would just look silly.
Yeah, and he then asks 60 seconds to kill 60 seconds. Then it turns out the guy who he was talking to was 60 seconds. And he had infiltrated. So it was like the scene in the Hero's Tier, where it turns out to be the captain turns out to be 3 days.
But without any of the charisma.
Yeah, and basically the guy who was killed at the start was the guy who had been hired to kill 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, to be honest, the characters of A Hero's Tears and our main in this film aren't too dissimilar in terms of their motives, as far as I can tell. But with A Hero's Tears, 3 Days Lang had a sister who he wanted to look after. It just seems like 60 Seconds Killer is just... He just kills people with no real motivation.
Just money and...
Other than showing off that sweet mustache.
Oh, what a
Sorry.
mustache.
He also, before he kills them, he lists out their sins.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So I think it's like he has to internally justify it to himself why he's killing these people.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's still a killer for hire, but yeah. Then there's this really random short scene of this guy killing his pupil.
Yeah, and this is our big bad, whose name I can't remember. So I just called him Big Bad.
Yeah, the boss man.
He has a beard and hair just like me, though.
Scragglier.
Yeah, but the beard especially is like...
Yeah.
It was very weird, and because it was so blurry, I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm not killing people, am I?"
If you see the cover for this film, it's a picture of I was about to say 3 days of 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Fighting this guy.
Why couldn't we have just watched The Hero's Tears again?
True.
It would have held up for a second viewing, I'm sure it would have.
Definitely. And there's Massage Man, so...
Oh, actually, there's somebody voiced by the same guy in this.
Yeah. There's probably quite a few.
I think that's another thing I noticed from this, is that we've watched enough now, we're starting to recognise actors and voice actors a lot more. It's quite cool that we're sort of getting a sort of weird view of this sort of small part of the film industry.
Yeah.
I like it. But anyway...
So then there's a scene where 60 Seconds talks to his brother,
Who's a
and his
farmer.
brother's just like, why don't you have a normal job, live a normal life like us normal people?
Yeah, come plant cabbages with me.
Conform to the communist ideal.
Yeah, don't go murdering people for money.
He's like a pro Maoist sentiment.
And then I think at this point there's a flashback to 60 Seconds' childhood, where he witnesses a murder which I think is his parents. But yeah, so is this? They were his parents, right?
Yeah. So he has a flashback to his parents dying, and he nicks their pocket watch.
Oh.
He does say mother, I think.
So he's kind of like Batman.
Yes.
Kind
60-second Batman who
He's
kills.
like Batman.
So that obviously sets up why he's like he is, I guess.
Yeah.
So then, for some reason, there's this guy
He gets another kill request.
Yeah, I know. I wrote this down. He punches the guy outside his window.
Yeah.
And then pulls him through the window. And I think that's the guy who's
Yeah, no, I wrote that in my notes as well. I said, he fulfills the kill request, kicking some poor sod through a paper window.
Yeah.
But it's a trap.
Yeah.
I think.
From the guy who we think was the actor of Horse Boxing Killer, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, because I would recognise that mustache from at least 30 paces.
But I had a quick look on the IMDb and I can't quite recognise the actors' names against each other.
I'll look it up and next week we'll work it out.
Yeah.
I'm never going to look that up. I don't know why I said I would.
True. So yeah, then he fights them and kills them, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
This film was very foggy for me.
Yeah.
The scenes sort of I sort of half remember the scenes.
Definitely at the start they blend together.
I mean, these are the most extensive notes I've written for one of these things. Mainly because it was so crap. I was just really into the notes, I guess. But just reading back through them, I completely forgot about everything at the start. Completely.
So then he talks to this whore, who falls in love with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I can never love you because
I'm
a lone wolf." Then there's there wasn't, but there should have been a wolf howl.
Yeah, that comes later.
And then her pimps turn up and you can't leave with her. And
oh no, they have the shittest voice actors, and they come in and they say, "Live like humans, can't have that." It's amazing.
And they start saying stuff in sync, and it's all
oh, it's perfect.
They're the funniest bit of this film.
They're the bulk and skull of this movie, and God knows this movie needed them.
Yes. Then 6 seconds beats the shit out of them,
but he doesn't kill them.
So he fights them off, and then I think his name at this point I thought it might be something like Fanxin or something.
I think it's Fang.
I wrote it down later when it was Fan Jiankang or something.
I just called him 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
Nobody had names in this for me. They were just mother, child, grandfather, 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
Big bad.
Pimps.
Pimps.
Anyway, so
KungFu Bulk and Skull, yeah.
Yeah. He then 6 seconds rides off somewhere for some reason. And then he returns and the whore has killed herself.
Yeah.
This was after he freed her from the brothel and gave her money.
Yeah, no, she just kills herself.
So he then rides off again, and he fights some people on the road.
Yeah, this was a very, very shit sequence.
Yeah, they fight him on the road, then they go back to their boss and they're like, "Yeah, he's alright."
Yeah.
And then 6 seconds turns up and he's like, "Right, you got another job for me," because the guy's boss is the same boss. Who's the big bad. Spoiler.
I think at this point in my synopsis I wrote, 25 minutes in and I care less about our main character than I cared about the doctor from A Hero's Tears or the blackface poison guy from last week's escapade.
Okay. The doctor, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but he did nothing.
And he was brutally murdered.
He just ate all of their duck and then cured her blindness, and then he died. It's really, I cared nothing for him.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been killed.
True, but at least something happened to him.
Okay, so then the boss gives him this really vague hit. Basically, it's there's this guy with this super common surname. It's Lee, because there's a million Lees.
Yeah.
And he has he's an old man and he has a red scar on his foot.
Yeah.
And he's in this city. That's all. Cut to this scene where 60 Seconds is in this restaurant. Again, no establishing shot that he's in the city or anything.
No.
Just he's there. And this kid is just in there causing trouble.
In really weird ways.
Yeah, he's just being an annoying little shit, really.
But not like any child would do.
He has a screaming competition with one of the patrons.
And then he copies
Yeah.
one of them, and then
I think he was copying them all. He was just trying to annoy them, basically.
yeah,
And then he goes and gets this flower selling girl who sits down with him. Who he gets to sit down with him so he can get alcohol or something. I don't, because this place won't serve him. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's a kid. Then these two guys are being kind of weird and are like,
oh no, is this the guy with the odd face?
no, that's much later.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Yeah, no. So these two guys are in this restaurant, and they're and they fight with the kid, and then 60 Seconds saves him.
Yeah, I did write in the synopsis at this point. This whole sequence makes no fucking sense. So yeah.
Outside of maybe to establish that the kid's a character,
Yes.
and the flower selling girl's a character for later.
They're basically trying to set up what happened in A Hero's Tears with Massage Man following him around, but with much less characterization and much more annoyingness.
So then the two guys who are the pimps from earlier, we then get this little thing where we're going to break into his house and kill him.
Yeah.
So they break into his house, go to kill him, but there's no one in his bed. Or I say his house, sorry, his probably hotel or villa or whatever he's in. And then 6 Seconds confronts them and fights them, and it's an okay fight.
Yeah, but it's decently funny, I guess.
Yeah.
But the problem is you never see them again. That's it. They're gone forever.
So then after that,
the two best characters are gone.
Yes, the two best characters. Yeah. So in the morning, there's this hot and sexy bathhouse scene where the kid's just pouring a bucket of water over his head.
And the 60 Seconds walks up to him and tells him that he's practicing a certain style of kung fu, apparently.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, I'm copying you. But yeah, so then basically the kid promises, 60 Seconds promises to teach the kid kung fu in secret or tell his... I don't know.
Yeah, he needs his mother's permission. So they go and see his mother.
But then he says, I'll teach you in secret.
Because the mother doesn't like him. And oh shit, she looks like the prostitute from earlier.
Yeah. Probably the same actress.
Most certainly. And she doesn't. She's not keen on the idea of him learning kung fu because I think her father was was kung fu. Her father was kung fu, and then he died.
Yes, he was kung fu. So the kid then berates the guy for lying to him and not teaching him kung fu.
So he spanks him.
And sends him to school, as a good father would and should.
But he also says that he'll train him secretly.
Yeah.
But
then there's
the boring school scene.
Yeah, where they're all just repeating the Confucius. And then there's a kung fu training scene.
Yeah, but that scene is where we're introduced to the grandfather character.
Don't spoil it.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
I was going to do it later.
Oh no. Yeah. What have I done?
Then the mother finds out the kid was learning kung fu and whips his ass, like any good mother should. Oh, also, sorry, this is something that I don't quite know if the kid was a male or female. Yeah,
because he kind of looked slightly female, and the voice actor was definitely female.
Well, naturally, but then they say this block the grind. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what they're doing there. Yeah, and she's like, but I have nothing to protect. Yeah. So that could be because I go, but then later on they refer to her as a boy. So we just refer to him as kid. Yeah. Anyway, so this kid's getting caned, and then the teacher, who is the grandfather, comes along and is like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine for him to learn kung fu so long as he does his schooling.
It'll all turn out fine.
He's fine. All we people we know who do kung fu die, but he's fine."
Yeah. So then, what was it? He asks him a question about this bronze coin around the kid's neck. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's because my teacher has a pocket watch around his neck. Yeah. And then that's when we're first given the first hint that the grandfather may be the target. Yeah. It's a nice little segue, really, honestly. So then the grandfather goes and speaks to 60 Seconds about his kid and his kid's grandkid. Yeah. I'm fine with teaching him and as long as he does his schooling. And we find out at this point that 60 Seconds saying is Fan Jiang Han. Yeah, but he's also starting to suspect that the grandfather is actually his target as well. So they're both sort of wising up to the fact that they're probably going to have to fight each other to the death fairly soon. Yeah. So then he invites 60 Seconds over for dinner because, that's what you do. And 60 Seconds asks him to start teaching him stuff, just general Confucius stuff. Because his parents weren't rich. And died. Yeah, and died. Well, they might have been rich, but they died. Yeah. And then there's a scene where 60 Seconds is chopping wood in the morning, and the mother comes out and is like, God damn, I want a piece of that.
He knows that she's watching.
Yeah.
When I cut wood, and granted it's not very often, I don't chop 2 bits of wood, do a bunch of crazy kung fu shit, and then like
Turn around,
continue to cut wood.
Yeah.
I just cut the wood, really, if I'm honest.
So they get to talk.
I don't even really do that.
And 60 Seconds tells the mother that, oh, you know, this whore I once probably banged, who died.
Yeah.
Was she your sister?
She reveals that she never knew her family and that she may be related to the prostitute. But she doesn't
She was
know.
sold to the circus.
She hopes that she has a better life in heaven than she did on earth.
And then the kid comes back and cop blocks him.
Yeah.
And then they go. The kid in 60 Seconds goes off for a walk. And then Dean Sheck arrives.
Oh,
And if you don't know who Dean Sheck
what
is,
a man.
he's the guy who played, was it One-Eyed Panther?
Yes.
The previous film.
The best thing about that last film, and which says a lot because that movie was generally excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe the reason I think so poorly of this one is because the last couple have been so good.
True.
But-
So he arrives and he's really weird. He's got like a big eye patch on and he has a bird in a cage. And he then's just like acting really creepy to the flower scent girl from earlier.
Yeah.
And this funky music plays whilst he's like, can I smell your hand, my lady?
Yeah.
And then he'll say, I'll buy you.
He continually has sort of mini fits, which is kind of disturbing to watch.
Yeah.
And he clearly has some sort of deformity under his eye patch.
Yeah. The girl then gets in a fight, and her sister joins in.
Yeah.
Then 60 Seconds and the kid shows up, and she's like, right, go fight him. Well, the sister asks to help, and the kid goes and fights. Then there's more funky music that gets played by this guy.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much the end of it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly meant to be a humorous scene because they probably really, really needed a humorous scene. But it's just the kid beating up a guy who's,
Shit.
admittedly he's a bit of a perv and it's out of order what he's doing, but he's clearly got issues. Like he's clearly not all there in terms of having like these constant fits. And
60 Seconds should have gone in there and just bashed him on the head and be like, no.
yeah, but knock the guy out and be done with it. The kid like messes with him for ages, and
it's like, oh, I want to see under your eye patch. He's like, he's hiding a birth defect or something for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, he's clearly not had a very good lot in life, and by all means, teach him his lesson for being a pervert. But come now, they should have just brought back the 2 guys from earlier, the Bulk and Skull. They would have brightened this movie up again.
Yeah.
But no, we got that.
Oh, we got Dean Sheck.
We did, and normally I would welcome that because he's wonderful. But
so then there's a scene where back at the house, the granddad's like, you should marry 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna kill me, so.
Because he's a fine piece of ass.
Yeah. Look at that mustache. Oh yeah.
Mm.
And then when they return, he invites 60 Seconds to have dinner with them again, and he kind of does it to make him fall in love with his daughter.
Yeah.
And then they play checkers at the end.
And I think at this point the
it's
scar is
revealed.
revealed.
Yeah. I then just for this next, I just wrote evil guys make a plan.
Yeah. No, the two cronies who had a fight with him earlier.
Yeah.
Sort of turn up and tell him to finish the job, or they'll find somebody who'll do it for him.
No, there was a scene earlier, I think, where the boss sends them out.
Oh yeah. Sorry, no, I forgot about that.
They just laughed maniacally, so
Yeah.
I assume they made a plan. But then they tell him he only has 3 days to kill this guy since they know that he knows who he is.
Yeah.
6 Seconds goes to the house. The granddad confesses to him, and then they are about to have a fight to the death, and then the kid and his mother, who was sent away, turn up, and the kid gets killed.
Yeah. He sort of runs in the way of a deadly strike.
Yeah. And has his spine broken or whatever.
Yeah.
Coughs up blood. And then 60 Seconds lets out one hell of a scream.
Like up until this point, I've noted throughout my synopsis how basically this man is an oak tree in terms of how he acts.
Yeah.
He opens his mouth wider than I've seen any man open his mouth.
And that's how it's just blood-curdling scream.
Blood-curdling
Pure
scream.
Pain.
And
And then he just runs off.
he's clearly going for that BAFTA.
Well,
I assume he
Chafta.
got it, really.
Chafta?
But he just runs away.
Yeah. And then the
which
two
is really
goons
irresponsible considering what happens next.
Yeah. The two goons turn up quite obviously, you know. I'm not going to say that once the kid was introduced and the family was introduced, it was obvious that the kid was going to die, but and then with 60 seconds running away, it was not going to be obvious that the fighters were going to turn up.
Yeah.
And it was not obvious that they were going to kill the grandfather and rape the daughter.
And they sure did both of those things.
But only one of them raped the daughter.
That's true.
I mean, one of them, I think, raped and killed the grandfather.
Oh, God.
It's just
such
like
a grim movie.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't... It was just...
But as I said, it was just not boring. Predictable.
Yeah, it was predictable and sad and, like, no one learned anything. For fuck's sake, we didn't even get a proper ending, which we'll get onto. Can we please get onto the ending?
So immediately after screaming at the top of his lungs, we see something like a montage scene of him running across fields, and then all of a sudden he just jumps off a bridge.
Yes.
Into water, it's hilarious.
I so wanted that to be the end, where it's just he just jumps and he just fucking jumps off the cliff.
But no, he wades out of the water, returns to the house, and for some reason, because maybe he doesn't know he's in a film, or that since he didn't kill the guy, those guys were obviously going to go kill the grandfather. But grandfather's dead. Woman is implied to be raped.
Yeah.
You see her legs.
Yeah, and they later just say it.
So, I raped her. Literally.
Enthusiastically, one guy says, I killed her, and then the other guy's like, I raped her.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No, I killed the grandfather, and then I raped her.
Yeah.
Not that he killed her, and then the other guy raped the corpse.
Yeah. Oh, God, can we just get past that bit? Oh,
yeah.
God. Right.
So he gets yelled at by his brother again, because, he isn't feeling shit enough.
Yeah.
He then goes looking for the goons, fights them through a cave.
Yeah.
And then it's a decent fight with weapons they have.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the highlights.
Yeah, then they kill him. Kill him? He kills them at the end,
Yeah.
Then he goes to this mansion. It was the bosses, and there's this crazy guy there.
Yeah.
Who's just super weird. But who then, surprise, turns out to be the boss guy.
Yeah, he takes off his face like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Before acting like a crackhead.
Yeah.
By the way, this guy had never seen his boss's face before. They had like a divider paper between them. And his reward for killing this guy was anything. He was like, oh, okay, I want to see you as our master's face.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, there wasn't really any point to the deception of pretending to be the crackhead. Because he'd never seen him before.
Their reason for wanting to kill him, actually, overall, was he was going to leave anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and the reason why he sent the goons there was because they'd heard that he'd fallen in love with the daughter or something. I think that was the...
But this leads to a mediocre fight that becomes a very good fight, honestly.
Yeah.
The bit when he rips his shirt off and sort of does the crazy compression type things to sort of boost his kung fu.
Power up. Yeah.
That leads to a really, really good fight.
He becomes a Super Saiyan, essentially.
He does, and it's pretty gritty and brutal how they just rip each other apart pretty much.
Yeah, you see these punches into his stomach and blood and stuff. It's quite...
It's the most kinetic fight in the film because you actually see them being actually moving around and things getting destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's these wigwams.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for how shit this movie is in terms of making you not care about any of the characters or anything in it, really. But that kind of works as a bonus when you have a fight like this because both characters are fighting to the death more than any other. 60 Seconds has lost everything. He has nothing to go back to at this point, so the fight.
Grandfather did.
The fight is just viciously brutal.
Yeah.
But it just kind of ends.
Yeah, they're in a jump in midair, and then blood trickles down the screen in a... Well, not even trickles, really. It's just red blood splat sort of falling from the top of the screen fades in.
Yeah, it's
sort of a hand
Bond sequence.
Yeah.
But it only goes halfway down screen. It's
Maybe that's what the budget covered.
Yeah.
It's the end.
Yeah,
It's like,
only had a few seconds worth of animation in the budget.
yeah.
it's like, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed that 1.5 hour movie. Did you want closure with that? Oh,
My assumption is they just both killed each other, but
yeah, I assumed that as well. But it would have been nice to see, just so I could watch these horrible characters die. Really, whatever.
I think my overall problem with this is, so you have the sort of stuff where 6 seconds is kind of falling in love with this woman,
Yeah,
but it feels like they were like told, you need to give him character development, like the writer was.
yeah,
So it was like, okay, I'm making fall in love, but there's no character in 60 seconds. He's just there for the scenes.
yeah. No, that completely. Yeah,
Like, okay, this actor's a bit wooden, probably,
yeah.
but
He was hired because in the interviews he showed that scene where he broke down and roared. Like,
yeah,
they picked him for that, really.
and he could do kung fu, but like, yeah, his acting wasn't good, but the way it was written, it didn't really work to developing a character for him.
Yeah,
It was very much that sort of traditional, I think, is it Chinese or just Asian generally, idea of character development, which is having bad things happen to the main character,
yeah,
which I don't.
It didn't stop him from being extremely poker faced throughout the entire film.
Yeah,
yeah.
like with 3 Days Ling in A Hero's Tear, he kind of you feel sorry for him because he shows remorse that he accidentally blinded his sister. You know, it's little things like that that I feel make him a little bit more fully flushed out as a character. You know,
Yeah.
you could see why he wanted to do the things he did.
They also weren't sterile robots. There were, you got to see fantasies of them running along the beach, and they would laugh and
Yeah, you
make
saw a full
faces.
emotional range from the characters, and
While this
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
just
completely.
his mouth was just a straight line, straight horizontal line throughout the entire film, except for the part where he opened it massively for that scream.
It's like we didn't get any middle ground. It's like your mouth is a pencil line, or it is a gaping chasm.
and like, whilst the scenes with the kid were nice, and you sort of felt like they were maybe going to develop his character, it just never went that far enough into it.
Yeah, it really
It very much
did.
felt like the kid was there as a plot device to the grandfather to then make him sad overall, to lead it to the end of the fight, as opposed to
It was like they had a character who didn't care about anything, and they gave him something to theoretically care about, and then they ripped it away from him.
but they didn't make him happy with it.
No, they
They
didn't.
gave him something to potentially be happy with him to get away. So, again, you just wanted like a couple more scenes to develop his character with the family. Also, the kid was just a bit of a little shit at the start. So,
Yeah, you didn't care for the kid at all, really.
there were scenes at the start which you could have cut.
Yeah, no, it was a very
Literally, just had him
trimmable movie.
turn up, like taking out his first mark. I don't think he needed the scene with the prostitute. Well,
I don't know. I mean,
Like those funny guys, yes, but you could have put them in somewhere else in the film.
more of them.
So like, if they'd have just cut the prostitute out, had basically him after killing the first target guy,
Yeah,
return to his boss, get given his next assignment, then maybe meet those two comedy guys in the restaurant
yeah,
with the little kid, and then have them go turn up to his house later on or immediately after.
yeah.
I think that just worked as a whole, but and it would have saved so much time.
Yeah, it just didn't really.
I think the scene again, then potentially the scene with Dean Sheck again could have been done exactly the same.
Yeah.
Replace it with those two guys for more comedy.
Incorporate them into the fight.
Yeah.
Keep the birdcage guy, but like have it so that they're all related.
Yeah, or maybe have it as the birdcage guy. Well, Dean Sheck was like their brother or something.
Yeah,
And
it
then
would
have
be
them all
easy
turn up
to
to
do
his house
that.
later. I mean, this is all stuff that overall it's not important, but it still makes the film fun.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. There was no fun in this film.
And
it was this middle ground between sort of trying to be an action comedy and
trying to be like emotionally,
and trying to be a sort of melodrama and not quite
yeah,
going enough in each direction.
Yeah, no.
yeah. It wasn't
100%.
funny enough to be a comedy, but it wasn't serious enough. Well, not even that. It wasn't acted deeply enough or written deeply enough to be a melodrama.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else like I would do to improve this film. I said I've developed his character more with the fan, with potential for a family, shown him actually happy and maybe in love with the daughter woman.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I think that scene, actually having shown emotional range with her, I'd been happy with him.
He just seemed indifferent to her for the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell he was falling in love with her, but as mostly due to just the tropes it played on.
Yeah.
And I understand, they killed the family and stuff to take away everything he had from him at that point.
Yeah. There is a lot to be said for the sort of movie, the trope of if you walk a path of blood, there is no redemption for you, that you will always be stained with it and it will always stain stuff that you love. I mean, it's a good trope and it works. I just don't think it was portrayed very well, honestly.
And then fully flesh out the ending fight scene.
Yeah,
That could have been such
like
a good
John
fight.
Wick.
Yeah, just talking about that archetypical story, A Hero's Tear did that a lot better. The sort of fallen hero who has got blood, who has spilled blood and will always be haunted by that. I think A Hero's Tear sort of played off that far better than this film could have.
I actually think because he had the dynamic with
With Massage Man.
Yeah, I was going to say his student. That was it.
Yeah, and his sister as well.
Yeah,
It's like that he was beyond redemption, but the others weren't, and he sacrificed himself so that they wouldn't have to sully themselves like he had.
and you kind of knew from the start of that film that he was going to die, but you kind of accepted that he was, he was who he was, and he knew he was going to die, but he wanted to do this for his family anyway. Whereas this guy he wanted nothing.
3 Days Lane was a hero.
Yeah, this guy was just a hired
60 Seconds Assassin was... He didn't have the depth to be a hero.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have the honor to be a hero, and he didn't have the depth to be an anti-hero
And they also tried to do the thing where he lists off people's sins. As I said,
Yeah.
But even then, that was just a bit I felt like it was only to play into his 60-second thing at the start.
Yeah.
Which that was dropped by the end of it anyway.
Yeah, completely. I think they mentioned it maybe one fight after the halfway point. It was more like they just needed a good title and an interesting thing to draw you in.
Yeah.
And they just did nothing with it.
What I think they should have done is something like no, I guess that would be too close to a hero's tier, but maybe instead of had it played on that the grandfather, that they found out that he was a killer, at some point he went off and killed someone else, and then they found out that he was this killer, and then have him lost everything he loved in that way.
Yeah.
Rather than killing off these likeable characters. Well, I say likeable, these characters.
These characters with something, damn it.
Yeah, I feel like if I knew how to write scripts, I could have written this film much better.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have to say, I think the voice acting was actually pretty good in this.
Yeah, better than other films, but...
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've had a couple of really, really goofy ones, which don't do a good job of it, but I felt like this one was decently serious enough,
Exactly.
and well acted.
Let's go final scores overall. I'm going to say 3 out of 10.
I mean, I guess I'd give it a 2 just because there were a couple of good fights. Ones that were interesting enough, but it's on the border of being a 1.
Okay.
Just because I just really hated it. Just didn't...
I give this film a big loud scream out of 10.
But that's praise.
Well, it's screaming horror.
Okay.
But that implies emotion, Ollie. I feel nothing inside.
To be honest, yes, something to do with sterility, blandness would be more appropriate out of 10. So
bland
a different face.
I'd say I'd give this an obnoxious fat school kid out of 10, trying to learn kung fu.
But not
that I can get behind.
Yeah. Right then, that was a film.
It was
It
definitely
was a
movie.
film.
What are we watching next week, lads?
You're the one who chooses, Pete. Stop saying this.
Oh, I am. I forgot.
Also, I think we don't follow through on what we say we're going to watch every time.
We don't. We never do.
We're going to watch a film next week, hopefully.
I mean, should
That's
it be a
not all
cheerful
it's-
one, or should we keep going with the ones that sound a bit grim?
I want a fun one.
So do I, damn it. I mean, what number episode is it?
This is episode 4, so the next one will be 5.
I mean, that's kind of a milestone, right?
Yeah? Kind
So
of.
because we suffered through this, could we watch Ultimate Versus, one of my favourite movies?
Go for it.
Amazing.
Ultimate Versus.
It's not a classic kung fu movie, I have to say, but it's got some exceptional action sequences. It's bloody weird. It's set in a forest where people are resurrected as zombies, and then they're killed, and then they're resurrected as vampires.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
When was it made?
It was made in, I want to say 2002, but I might want to double check that.
So that's our next film, probably, possibly not.
Ultimate versus Capcom.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a
Marvel
good movie,
versus
guys.
Capcom.
I can't wait.
Right. Fun fact. We're now with 11 minutes ahead of when we normally are.
We are.
So quickly, what's your stuff to follow? Pete, go first.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, my name is Peter. I'm a freelance production designer / art director for film and television. I'm currently updating my website, which I'm taking a month of Sundays to do.
Literally 4 Sundays he's been working on it for.
Oh mate, so long. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for some inexplicable reason, I am at @TheTimeStarfish. If you want to follow me on Instagram and see pictures of my dog, you can go on there and find me at The Most Mysterious Battenberg. You probably won't find it because it's got so many underscores, it's really long and silly. Yeah, no, that's me, you know.
Ollie, where can they find your shit?
Where can they find you, Ollie?
I am Ollie from Solly on Twitter and SoundCloud. I make wacky electronic 8-bit tunes that you
8-bit?
might want. Some of them are 8-bit,
Oh.
which you might want to fill your eardrums with. And otherwise, I take photographs and videos, which you can find on my website, oliverryan.co.uk.
He also mixes the opening for this.
He does.
Oh, yes.
And by mixes, like, because we can't say he made, because that's Jane Chow.
I appropriate and conduct.
You culturally appropriate China into the opening.
Such a menace, that boy.
He eats food on YouTube.
He does.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Tell us
Wow.
about that, Ollie.
I haven't updated it in a long time.
It's a visual arts project where he just eats food on camera for some inexplicable reason.
The South Koreans stole the
bad.
idea from me, and
They did. It's a really big thing over there.
yeah, and I want my royalties.
For every single view.
Yeah.
And Lawrence, my boy, my man, where can people find your beautiful face?
Hi, I'm Lawrence. I, generally speaking, edit this podcast.
He does.
With that in
Bless him
inverted
for
commas. So the shorter this is, the better. I do art stuff, mostly. Like, I draw, and I'm half good. Mostly
He
bad.
is.
But yeah, I'm on, like, YouTube for speed paintings at Lozicane, Tumblr at Lozicane for just my shit posting stuff normally, but Loz Art for the art stuff. I'm on Twitter at Lozicane for my random thoughts and for my cuter dog than Pete's dog.
You fucking what, mate?
Pete,
Shit, yours is a puppy, but
exactly.
But mine's really adorable.
Mine's a little, like, 18-week-old cocker spaniel that's brown. So
Mine's a
can't beat
staffy.
that.
Staffy sheepdog mix.
yeah, his is a Heinz 57.
Whoa, my dog's a Ferrari, but like a Ferrari with the wheels of a Hummer.
Technically,
It's late, all right. Jeez, I'm too tired for this.
I also stream video games on YouTube, and maybe sometimes do not YouTube, Twitch. That was again. Sometimes I do art on there as well. Yeah, it's late. Goodbye.
Have a good night.
eat your greens.
Sleep tight. I'm gonna play Persona 5 now.
Don't let 60-second assassin bite.
Yeah, don't let him anywhere near anything because he's awful.
And don't watch this film.
1 out of 10. I've changed my mind.